Tensions between China and the Philippines have been heating up in recent years. CCP, or the Chinese Communist Party, has been poking the Philippines in several ways. However, it has a habit of biting off more than it can chew. A specific incident has exposed the limitations of China's military and demonstrated that it can't afford to overstretch its forces far beyond its territorial boundaries. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes how USS Ronald Regan and USS Carl Vinson carrier strike groups sandwich Chinese Shandong in the South China Sea. Let's get started. Before we proceed, a word on NordVPN, which is one of the most trusted VPN brands worldwide that has a no-log policy validated by Deloitte, an industry-leading Big Four auditing firm. NordVPN provides an encrypted tunnel that protects your privacy by preventing external entry to your internet traffic, as well as enabling you to access content that's blocked based on geolocation. Best of all, with one NordVPN account, you can secure up to 6 devices at the same time. Get an exclusive NordVPN deal with massive savings by going to nordvpn.com/defense or clicking the link in the description. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The Second Thomas Shoal, also known as the Yunjin Shoal in the Philippines, has emerged as a critical flashpoint in the South China Sea. A small contingent of the Philippine Marine Corps has occupied the Second Thomas Shoal since its Navy deliberately grounded World War II landing vessel BRP Sierra Madre to serve as an outpost in 1999. As per the Philippines, the shoal falls within its exclusive economic zone, EEZ. 8 to 10 Philippine Marines are stationed at the BRP Sierra Madre. The shoal is 40 kilometers or 25 miles from Mischief Reef, which the Chinese occupied in 1994, and where it built huge facilities in 2013 and 2014. In the last few months, China's tried to obstruct the Philippines' boats that supply this atoll. A similar incident was encountered in October. On October 19th, the U.S. moved USS Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group from the Busan port in South Korea to support the Philippines. The PLAN, or People's Liberation Army Navy, deployed the Shandong Carrier Strike Group to counter this move. On October 26, the Chinese flotilla moved through the Bashi Channel and entered waters east of the Philippines. Shandong Carrier Strike Group planned to conduct aircraft carrier training operations in the Philippines from the 29th to the 31st as a show of force, but the U.S. had other ideas. On October 29th, the Shandong Strike Group realized that it was now sandwiched between 2 American carrier strike groups, USS Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group in the western Philippine Sea and USS Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group present in the southern waters off Japan. The Chinese military was late to realize that USS Carl Vinson had moved from its base in Hawaii to the Indian Ocean to that particular position to form a dual carrier force. So Shandong was pressed in from the north and the south by the 2 U.S. carrier strike groups. Shandong is China's second aircraft carrier. It's basically a larger copy of China's first carrier, Liaoning, a refurbished Ukrainian hull from the 1980s. Shandong has a length of 315 meters, or 1,033 feet, and is thought to have a displacement of around 70,000 tons when fully loaded. Shandong is powered by conventional oil-fired boilers, driving 8 steam turbines derived from the Soviet-era examples installed on Liaoning, and is thought to have a max speed of about 55.5 kilometers per hour, or 34.5 miles per hour. Shandong's bigger hangars enable it to carry 36 J-15s versus the 24 Liaoning can carry. But it's no match to American supercarriers that can accommodate 70-plus aircraft. Shandong's main strike aircraft is the Shenyang J-15. The J-15, also known as the Flying Shark, is a 4th-generation, twin-jet, all-weather, carrier-based fighter aircraft that's basically an unethical copy of Russian Su-33. It's known to have a low maximum launch weight since the engine is not powerful, and Shandong doesn't have a catapult to launch aircraft. With this weight limitation, a J-15 cannot carry a full load of fuel and weapons, so it has neither a good range nor an effective weapons package. Even Chinese media refers to it as flopping fish. As evident, Shandong was outmatched heavily. The two American carrier strike groups have around 150 aircraft, and USS Carl Vinson even has fifth-generation F-35s on board. The supercarriers are accompanied by multiple Arleigh Burke-class destroyers and Ticonderoga-class cruisers, Virginia-class subs, as well as several supporting assets. PLAN had limited options to support Shandong. Its first carrier, Liaoning, is going through a refit, and the third one, Type 003 Fujian, is not yet operational. Reports indicate a terrified PLAN dispatched several warships and even H-6 strategic bombers on an emergency basis in multiple batches to counter the American forces. However, since Shandong was far from China's territorial boundaries, there was limited reinforcement. This incident showed that PLAN is still a long way off from becoming a true blue water navy. Another aspect is that every time PLAN warships venture out towards the south, they'll be in the crosshairs of countries like Taiwan, Japan, Australia, and India. Defense Updates community may note that the CCP's course of actions have left China with few friends in its surroundings. There have been discussions that since the U.S. is indirectly occupied in multiple conflicts presently, China could use this opportunity. But the U.S. has been one step ahead. USS Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group was moved from the U.S. in that region in anticipation of potential Chinese provocations. On November 9th, Samuel Paparo, commander of the United States Pacific Fleet, talking to a small group of reporters at the Indo-Pacific 2023 conference, made the U.S. stance clear. Responding to concerns that China might act aggressively, while the U.S. and its allies are focused on the wars between Israel and Hamas and Ukraine and Russia, he stated, "On the matter of distraction, I've not seen any distraction from the U.S. government or the U.S. Department of Defense on the urgency in the Indo-Pacific and the importance strategically to the country." He said, "And so, as I utter these words, when we talk about how there are two aircraft carriers in the Mediterranean, there are two aircraft carriers in the Western Pacific as I utter these words." He added, "The U.S. is not distracted in the slightest." It's evident that the U.S. military has the muscle and will to counter China as deemed suitable.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.